Chosen one, pause for a moment and ground yourself right here, because what you are about to hear is not symbolic, not poetic, and not random. This is a warning, and it is arriving precisely because you are standing at a threshold where one decision, one conversation, one moment of distraction could alter the direction of your path. Your spirit guides are not distant observers. They are active, alert, and deeply invested in what unfolds next for you. They have been trying to reach you repeatedly, not through dramatic visions but through subtle interruptions, missed calls, sudden hesitations, recurring thoughts that won't settle, patterns that keep repeating until you finally ask why. These are not coincidences, they are interventions. When the unseen speaks softly, it is because the message is meant to be caught by awareness, not fear. Yet understand this clearly. The urgency you feel right now exists because the window to act wisely is narrowing. There is something approaching that looks harmless on the surface but carries consequences beneath it. This is why your guides have intensified their presence around you. You may have noticed an unusual heaviness before making certain plans, or a sudden loss of energy when engaging with specific people, or even a strong pull to delay something you were once eager to rush into. That resistance is not weakness, it is protection. Spirit guides do not shout, they apply pressure. They create friction so you slow down long enough to see what you would otherwise miss. If you've felt restless, unsettled, or strangely alert without knowing why, it's because your intuition is being activated to override logic that could lead you into a trap of repetition, old cycles disguised as new opportunities. This warning is not about punishment or doom, it is about alignment. Your path has recently shifted upward, and whenever elevation happens, interference follows. What your guides are asking you to do right now is deceptively simple but spiritually critical. Do not reveal everything, do not move impulsively, and do not ignore discomfort just to maintain peace or familiarity. There is someone or something testing your boundaries, not aggressively but persistently, to see how much access you will grant without question. The warning is to guard your energy, your words, and your timing. Silence in this phase is not avoidance, it is strategy. You are being trained to recognize when to step back rather than push forward. Understand this. Spirit guides intervene most clearly right before a lesson becomes irreversible. That is why this message carries weight. You are not being told to fear what's ahead, but to navigate it consciously. The signs you've been receiving are confirmations that you are protected, but protection works best when partnered with awareness. If you act as if everything requires immediate response, you override the guidance meant to keep you safe. Right now, your greatest strength is discernment. Let moments pass before reacting. Let conversations breathe before committing. Let intuition speak before logic argues. This is the first layer of the warning. It is not the full message yet, but it is the foundation. Stay present, stay observant, and most importantly, do not dismiss what your inner voice has been repeating lately. It is not anxiety. It is intelligence from beyond the visible, stepping in just early enough to change the outcome. Chosen one, now that your awareness is open, it's time to speak about what your spirit guides are actively shielding you from, because the danger here is not obvious, loud, or immediate. It is subtle, delayed, and disguised as normal. The most effective disruptions to a chosen path rarely arrive as chaos. They arrive as comfort, familiarity, or urgency that pressures you to act before you fully sense the consequences. Your guides are warning you about a decision chain, not a single moment. One small agreement leads to another. One overlooked feeling leads to a pattern. And once momentum builds, it becomes harder to step away without cost. This is why the warning arrives now, before anything has visibly gone wrong. Pay attention to what has recently felt off, but easy to ignore. A conversation that left you drained instead of clear. A promise that felt rushed. An opportunity that looked aligned, but required you to compromise something quietly important to you. Your time, your values, your intuition. Spirit guides work through contrast. They highlight where your body reacts differently than your mind. If your chest tightens, if your thoughts loop, if sleep becomes disrupted after engaging with a certain topic or person, that is not coincidence. That is your nervous system translating guidance faster than language can. Your guides are saying, something here is misaligned, even if it looks beneficial on paper. There is also a warning about repetition. You are being protected from re-entering an old lesson under a new name. Patterns don't repeat because you failed. They repeat because they are refined tests. This time the scenario looks more polished, more reasonable, more justified. The trap is familiarity. Your guides are urging you to ask one question before moving forward with anything significant. Does this expand me, or does it pull me back into proving, explaining, or overextending? If it requires you to shrink, rush, or silence your instincts, it is not aligned, no matter how convincing it appears. Another layer of this warning involves timing. You are early, not late. Acting too soon would expose you before the structure around you is ready to support what you're becoming. Spirit guides often delay outcomes not because something is wrong, but because something is still being positioned behind the scenes. Interference thrives when you reveal plans prematurely or seek validation too early. This is why you may feel an urge to retreat slightly, to observe instead of announce. Honor that instinct. The unseen realm is asking you to let things unfold rather than force clarity before it's meant to arrive. Most importantly, this warning is not meant to make you suspicious of everything. It's meant to refine your discernment. Not everyone needs access. Not every message needs a reply. Not every opportunity needs an immediate yes. Your guides are training you to move from reaction to authority. Authority does not rush. Authority listens. Authority waits until alignment feels calm, not pressured. If something feels urgent but unclear, pause. True alignment does not demand panic. You are not being blocked. You are being buffered, given space to choose differently than you have before. This is how protection looks when you're ready for more responsibility, more influence, more impact. The warning is not about what you'll lose if you're careless. It's about what you'll preserve if you're attentive. Chosen one, this is where the warning sharpens into direction, because awareness without action changes nothing. Your spirit guides are not only alerting you to what must be avoided, they are guiding you toward a specific way of moving that will keep you protected even when conditions shift. The instruction is subtle but firm. Slow your external movement while strengthening your internal alignment. Right now, your power is not in acceleration. It is in precision. Every step you take from this moment forward must be intentional. This is not a season for drifting, improvising, or saying yes out of habit. It is a season for conscious choice. You may notice that silence is becoming more attractive than explanation. That is guidance. You may feel less interested in defending yourself, correcting misunderstandings, or proving your worth. That is guidance. You may feel an inner resistance to sharing plans that once excited you to talk about. That is guidance. Your spirit guides are teaching you containment, the ability to hold energy without leaking it into environments that cannot yet support it. What you are carrying is fragile, not because it is weak, but because it is forming. Seeds do not grow faster when exposed, they grow when protected. Another instruction coming through clearly is discernment in emotional exchanges. There is a difference between empathy and absorption. You're being asked to stop carrying what is not yours to resolve. If you've been feeling unusually tired, emotionally foggy, or unmotivated without a clear reason, this is a sign you've been unconsciously absorbing energy from others. Your guides are advising energetic boundaries, not emotional walls. This means listening without internalizing, caring without rescuing, and supporting without sacrificing your own stability. The warning here is simple but critical. Depletion will delay what alignment would accelerate. You are also being guided to trust what no longer excites you. Loss of interest is not failure, it is graduation. If certain goals, roles, or identities suddenly feel hollow, it is because your frequency has shifted beyond them. Clinging out of fear would pull you backward. Releasing with trust will propel you forward. Your spirit guides are clearing outdated motivations so that your next phase is fueled by authenticity rather than obligation. This is why forcing enthusiasm right now feels impossible. You are not meant to fake alignment. You are meant to wait for it to arrive organically. Pay close attention to dreams, fleeting thoughts, and sudden clarity that arrives when you are relaxed. Guidance often bypasses logic and enters through stillness. You may receive answers while showering, walking, or just before sleep. Do not dismiss these moments. Write them down. They are not random. Your guides are using these quiet windows because your conscious mind is less resistant there. What comes through may not make sense immediately, but it will later, precisely when you need it. Finally, understand this. The warning was delivered because you are trusted with it. Many people walk into misalignment without ever sensing it. You sensed it because you are ready to choose differently. Protection is active around you, but protection works best when partnered with awareness. Nothing is being taken from you. Nothing is being denied. Everything is being redirected so that when the door opens fully, you step through it whole, clear, steady, and prepared. Chosen one, now the message moves from caution into confirmation because what your spirit guides warned you about has already begun to shift. This is not a future tense message anymore. The adjustment is happening now, quietly, invisibly, but unmistakably. You may feel as though something has lifted without explanation, an anxiety that no longer grips you the same way, a situation that suddenly lost its emotional charge, or a person whose influence over your thoughts has weakened. That is not coincidence, that is intervention. Your guides are confirming that the path ahead has been corrected, not erased, not rewritten, but refined. Where confusion once clouded your decisions, clarity is being restored. Where urgency once pushed you into premature action, patience is now anchoring you. This is a sign that alignment has been re-established. The warning worked. You listened, even if you didn't consciously realize you were listening. Awareness alone shifted the trajectory. You are entering a phase where external chaos will no longer dictate internal direction. This is critical. Many people mistake calm for stagnation, but this calm is strategic. It is the stillness that follows divine recalibration. Think of it as a pause before momentum returns. Stronger, cleaner, and more purposeful. Your spirit guides are not rushing you because rushing is what created vulnerability before. This time, every movement will feel grounded, almost inevitable. You may also notice a heightened sensitivity to truth. Words that once sounded convincing now feel empty. Promises that once reassured you now feel fragile. This is discernment sharpening. Your guides are fine-tuning your internal compass so that deception cannot anchor itself in your life again. From this point forward, misalignment will feel uncomfortable quickly, not slowly. That is protection. Another confirmation arriving now is this: you were never late. The delays you experienced were containment, not punishment. Had certain doors opened earlier, you would have entered them carrying the wrong weight. Expectations, attachments, or unresolved fears that would have compromised the outcome. What felt like waiting was actually preparation happening beneath awareness. Now that the internal work is complete, movement will feel smoother, faster, and less forced. You are also being reassured that help is closer than you think, not in dramatic displays, but in subtle positioning. People will say the right thing at the right time. Opportunities will appear without struggle. Obstacles that once required effort to overcome will dissolve without confrontation. This does not mean life becomes effortless. It means resistance is no longer personal. You are no longer fighting the current. You are learning how to move with it. Most importantly, your guides want you to understand that fear no longer holds authority over your decisions. It may still appear, but it will not control. The difference now is response. You are learning to pause, observe, and choose rather than react. This is the mark of spiritual maturity. This is what allows protection to remain active without constant correction. This phase is quieter than you expected, but far more powerful. The unseen is working because you are ready to trust what you cannot yet see. The warning was not meant to frighten you, it was meant to wake you. And now that you are awake, the guidance becomes gentler, clearer, and more affirming. Chosen one, now that alignment has been restored, your spirit guides are shifting how they communicate with you. The warnings were sharp because urgency demanded clarity. What comes next is refinement, subtle confirmations that guide rather than interrupt. This is where many miss the message again, not because it disappears, but because it no longer arrives with intensity, it arrives with precision. Your guides want you to slow your attention, not your life. Pay closer attention to what repeats gently, not what shouts loudly. From this moment forward, guidance will show up through patterns rather than pressure. You may notice the same idea resurfacing across different contexts, an unexpected conversation, a line in a book, a thought that returns during quiet moments. These are not random echoes. They are directional signals, reinforcing the next step without forcing it. When something aligns 3 times without effort, that is confirmation. When something requires you to override your intuition repeatedly, that is resistance. Your guides are teaching you how to tell the difference. You may also experience a recalibration in relationships. Some connections will naturally fade, not through conflict, but through incompatibility of direction. Others will strengthen through shared timing rather than shared history. This is not loss, this is accuracy. Your path requires fewer explanations now. The people meant to walk with you will understand without being convinced. Those who require constant justification are no longer aligned with where you are going. Another sign to watch for is how quickly peace returns after disruption. Situations may still arise that challenge you, but the recovery time will shorten. Where you once lingered in doubt, you will now regain balance with ease. This is evidence that protection remains active. Your nervous system is no longer absorbing what does not belong to you. Emotional resilience is becoming instinctive rather than learned. Your guides are also cautioning you against overanalyzing the process. Seeking confirmation is healthy, chasing certainty is not. The more you try to force clarity, the quieter guidance becomes. Trust operates best when curiosity replaces control. When you allow answers to arrive on their own schedule, they arrive complete. When you rush them, they arrive fragmented. Let stillness do the work thinking cannot. You may feel drawn to create boundaries you once avoided. Rest, solitude, fewer explanations, more intentional choices. These are not withdrawals from life. They are reinforcements of your energy. Protection is not only about preventing harm, it is about preserving capacity. Your guides are ensuring that when opportunity arrives, you have the strength to hold it without exhaustion. This phase also brings discernment around timing. Not every opportunity is meant to be acted on immediately. Some are meant to be acknowledged and revisited. If something excites you, but also creates pressure to act instantly, pause. True alignment invites movement without urgency. Your guides will never rush you into what is meant to last. Above all, understand this. The warning you received was not the peak. It was the pivot. From here, guidance becomes cooperative rather than corrective. You are no longer being redirected, you are being supported. The unseen is no longer blocking danger alone, it is now amplifying momentum. Chosen one, this is where the message completes itself. Not with fear, but with authority. The warning was never meant to frighten you. It was meant to return power to your awareness. Now that you are listening, your spirit guides are no longer intervening to stop harm. They are positioning you to move forward without hesitation. This is the stage where protection becomes permission. You are no longer being guarded because you are fragile. You are being guarded because what you carry matters. From this point on, your path will feel quieter, but not empty. Silence will no longer feel like abandonment. It will feel like space. Space to choose without pressure. Space to act without second-guessing. Space to hear your own inner knowing clearly. This is one of the clearest signs that guidance is fully integrated. When the noise fades and confidence remains, alignment has taken root. You may notice that situations which once confused you now resolve quickly or never escalate at all. That is not coincidence. That is interception. Your guides are working ahead of time now, adjusting outcomes before you ever encounter resistance. Doors that would have drained you simply won't open. Conversations that would have pulled you off course will end early. Opportunities that are not meant for you will lose their appeal. This is what true protection looks like. Not dramatic rescue, but prevented entanglement. There is also a shift happening in how you perceive yourself. You are no longer asking, "Am I doing the right thing?" You are asking, "Does this align with who I am becoming?" That question alone changes everything. It means you are no longer surviving moment to moment. You are navigating with intention. Your guides recognize this. That is why their tone has changed. They are no longer correcting a misstep. They are reinforcing a trajectory. Pay attention to what feels inevitable now, not what feels urgent. Not what feels dramatic, what feels steady, what feels calm even before it succeeds. Those are the paths being supported. If something requires you to betray your intuition, minimize your values, or rush past your inner signals, it is not protected. Protection always feels grounding, even when it leads you into the unknown. You may still encounter doubt, but it will no longer control your decisions. You may still feel fear, but it will no longer dictate your direction. This is the difference between being guided and being led. You are now walking with the unseen, not waiting for it to pull you forward. The crucial warning has done its job. You heard it, you paused, you realigned. Now the message shifts from "be careful" to "be ready." Ready to move without apology, ready to trust without overproof, ready to choose what sustains you, not what depletes you. Chosen one, before you leave this moment, you must understand the weight of what has just taken place. This was not content. This was not coincidence. This was not something you happened to hear. This was a timed intervention. Your spirit guides do not send warnings casually, and they do not repeat themselves without reason. The fact that you are here, listening to the very end, means the message has reached the correct soul. You were meant to receive this before a specific decision, before a certain conversation, before a moment where your path could have quietly shifted without you realizing it. That is why the warning came wrapped in urgency, but delivered with clarity. Not to scare you, but to prepare you, because preparation is how destiny is protected. There is a common misunderstanding about warnings from the unseen realm. People assume warnings mean something bad is guaranteed to happen. That is false. A warning means something has been detected early enough to be avoided, redirected, or neutralized. Your guides operate ahead of time. They see probability lines, energetic patterns, intentions forming before actions take shape. What they saw was not inevitable harm. It was a crossroads, a subtle one, the kind that looks harmless on the surface, the kind most people walk into without resistance. But you are not most people. You are chosen precisely because your path carries consequence, influence, and long-term impact beyond yourself. That is why your protection is active, specific, and relentless. From this moment forward, you may notice small but undeniable changes. People may reveal themselves without meaning to. Conversations may suddenly feel off. Opportunities that once felt exciting may now feel strangely heavy or rushed. This is not loss, it is filtration. Your guides are narrowing your path, removing options that would cost you more than they give. Pay attention to how your body responds. Peace will feel quiet and steady. Danger will feel urgent, flattering, or emotionally charged. Learn the difference. This discernment is not learned intellectually, it is felt, and now that you've been warned, your sensitivity will sharpen. You may also feel a strange mix of relief and seriousness after this message. Relief because something you couldn't explain finally makes sense. Seriousness because part of you knows this was not a casual warning. Both reactions are correct. When guidance arrives this clearly, it means timing matters. Not everything must be acted on immediately, but nothing should be ignored. Delay is different from denial. You are allowed to move slowly. You are not allowed to move unconsciously anymore. Your guides are not asking you to isolate, fear people, or distrust the world. They are asking you to choose awareness over autopilot. Guard your words. Not everyone needs access to your plans, your healing, your next step. Silence, right now, is a form of protection. Observation is a form of power. You do not need to confront, explain, or prove anything. What is not aligned will remove itself once you stop feeding it attention. And hear this clearly. The reason the warning came now is because something good is close. Blessings create interference before they arrive. Expansion attracts resistance before manifestation. This is not punishment. It is positioning. The unseen realm does not warn those who are stagnant. It warns those who are moving into something valuable. Your next chapter carries weight. That is why your path is being guarded. As you move forward, trust the quiet signals. Trust the hesitation that appears without logic. Trust the calm that replaces excitement when something is truly right. You will not miss what is meant for you by slowing down. You will miss it by rushing past discernment. Your guides are not behind you pushing. They are ahead of you clearing. Walk accordingly. And finally, remember this. You were not warned because you are vulnerable. You were warned because you are important to the trajectory of what comes next. Your awareness is now part of the protection. Stay present, stay grounded, stay listening. This was not the end of the message. It was the seal. You are guided, you are protected, and now you move forward with eyes open.